Namaste. In today's video, we will understand how to really see God. We will explore the topics like does God exist, why people cannot see God, what should one practice and avoid in order to have an experience of God, how to surrender to God, and many other things as explained by the great yogi and God-realized mystic Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Sri Ramakrishna had practiced various spiritual paths in his life and proclaimed that all these spiritual methods, when practiced correctly, ultimately lead to the same goal and thus validated their essential unity. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. You see many stars in the sky at night, but not when the sun rises. Can you therefore say that there are no stars in the heavens during the day? Because you cannot find God in the days of your ignorance, say not that there is no God. One can see God as one sees two persons talking together or walking, but one should call on God from the bottom of one's heart. Pray and cry for Him. Demand His vision from Him as children demand toys from their parents with loud cries. Remove all worldly desires from the mind. Always remember, I have a mother and I am her son. One cannot see God if one has even the slightest trace of worldliness. Matchsticks, if damp, won't strike fire though you rub 1,000 of them against the matchbox. You will only waste a heap of sticks. The mind soaked in worldliness is such a damp matchstick. You do not see God because you busy yourself with such things as name, fame, and scholarship. You are engaged in arbitration. The Divine Mother says to herself, "My child over there is now busy arbitrating and is very happy. Let him be." As long as there is bhoga, there will be less of yoga. Furthermore, bhoga begets suffering. One should not be ashamed of chanting God's holy name. As the saying goes, one does not succeed so long as one has these three: shame, hatred, and fear. Do not involve yourself in quarrels and arguments anymore. Another thing, it is the attachment to the lust and wealth that keeps one from seeing God. The attachment to the lust and wealth is the cause of bondage. It is the barrier. As your attachment to the lust and wealth diminishes, your spiritual knowledge will increase. It is not lust alone that one should be afraid of in the life of the world. There is also anger. Anger arises when obstacles are placed in the way of desire. God cannot be realized without purity of heart. One receives the grace of God by subduing the passions, lust, anger, and greed. Satsang, association with the holy, develops fondness and love for God. Unless you can develop yearning for God, you won't achieve anything. By keeping the company of holy people, the heart becomes restless and longs for God. Longing is like the rosy dawn. After the dawn, out comes the sun. Longing is followed by the vision of God. Pray with a sincere heart. He is your own. You have to say to Him, "Please reveal yourself to me. Grant me your vision. Why have you given birth to me?" He will surely listen to your prayer if it is sincere. Spiritual discipline is necessary in order to see God. How many austerities I practiced under the Bael tree. I would lie down under it, crying to the Divine Mother, "O Mother, reveal thyself to me." The tears would flow in torrents and soak my body. Can you weep for Him with intense longing of heart? Men shed a jug full of tears for the sake of their children, for their wives, or for money, but who weeps for God? One needs sadhana in order to see God. The Divine Mother herself practiced austere sadhana to set an example for mankind. Sri Krishna, who is none other than the ultimate Brahman, also practiced sadhana to set an example to others. Even if one lives in the world, one must go into solitude now and then. Even if a person thinks of God for one day in solitude, That too will do him good. Silently repeat God's name in solitude. When you chant His name with single-minded devotion, you can see God's form and realize Him. By repeating God's name, you become absorbed in Him and finally realize Him. Repeat His name and sins will disappear. Thus you will destroy lust, anger, the desire for creature comforts, and so on. Now before we proceed, I would like to inform you that we have started memberships on our channel. If you would like to support our channel and get some exclusive perks in return, please make sure to hit the join button, select the relevant membership subscription, and become our valued member. Shivagyane Jiva Seva. Serve the other human beings with the idea that God is residing within them. It is best to only take sattvic food. Haven't you read about it in the Gita? The Gita describes various ways of realizing God through knowledge, devotion, selfless work, and meditation. One should weep for God. When the impurities of the mind are thus washed away, one realizes God. The mind is like a needle covered with mud, and God is like a magnet. The needle cannot be united with the magnet unless it is free from mud. Tears wash away the mud, which is nothing but lust, anger, greed, and other evil tendencies. As soon as the mud is washed away, the magnet attracts the needle, that is to say, man realizes God. Only the pure in heart see God. To be able to realize God, one must practice absolute continence. Sages like Shukadeva are examples of an Urdhvareta. Their chastity was absolutely unbroken. A man controlling the seminal fluid for 12 years develops a special power. He grows a new inner nerve called the nerve of memory. Through that nerve, he remembers all. He understands all. What I said about aspirants practicing continence is true. Without chastity, one cannot assimilate these teachings. You can see God if your love for Him be as strong as the strength of these three attachments put together, namely, the attachment of a miser to his wealth, that of a mother to her newborn child, and that of a chaste wife to her husband. Truthfulness is the tapasya of the Kaliyuga. Truthfulness, submission to God, and looking on the wives of other men as one's own mother. These are the means to realize God. In Kaliyuga, the best way is Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, singing the praises of the Lord and prayer, as described by Narada. One should constantly repeat the name of God. Clap your hands while repeating God's name, and the birds of your sin will fly away. You must long for God with a restless heart. It is said that, in the Kaliyuga, even if a man can weep for God for just one day and one night, he will see Him. Hriday's son, a child of 4 or 5 years old, used to spend the whole day with me. He played with his toys and almost forgot everything else. But no sooner did the evening come than he would say, "I want to go to my mother." I would try to cajole him in various ways and would say, "Here, I will give you a pigeon." But he wouldn't be consoled with such things. He would weep and cry, "I want to go to my mother." He didn't enjoy playing anymore. One should cry for God that way, like a child. That is what it means to be restless for God. One doesn't enjoy worldly pleasures any longer. After one's experiences of the world are over, one feels this restlessness and weeps for God. Karma Yoga means to surrender to God the fruit of all action. If one gives charity in the spirit of detachment, he is really doing good to himself only. Remember, it is God alone that he serves, God who dwells in all beings. If a man thus serves God through all beings, without seeking name and fame, or heaven after death, without seeking any return from those he serves, if he can carry on his work of service in this spirit, then he performs truly selfless work. This is called motiveless work, the performance of duty without attachment. This is called Karma Yoga. This is the way to realize God. You no doubt need money for your worldly life, but don't worry too much about it. The wise course is to accept what comes of its own accord. Don't take too much trouble to save money. Those who surrender their hearts and souls to God, those who are devoted to Him and have taken refuge in Him, do not worry much about money. Surrender yourself completely to God and set aside all such things as fear and shame. One cannot have the vision of God as long as one has shame, hatred, and fear. This is very true. Shame, hatred, fear, pride, secretiveness, and the like cause bondage. With all the sincerity of your heart, resign yourself to God and drive all your worries out of your mind. Do whatever duties He has assigned to you. God has put you in the world. What can you do about it? Resign everything to Him. Surrender yourself at His feet. Then there will be no more confusion. Then you will realize that it is God who does everything. All depends on the will of Rama. Many thanks for watching the video. If you are new to the path of spirituality and meditation, we recommend you watch these videos. If you like our videos, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and make sure to press the bell icon. It will also help us grow and spread this timeless wisdom of Sanatana Dharma to others.